It is a relatively short lap round here, only a minute 21.98, the qualifying time that put Kobe Williams on the pole. Time's out. Lights are on. Time to go racing from Snetterton. Green flag is out. And away we go. And a good, nice and even start from all of our front few rows. As always in the skippies. Now they've got to get themselves through turn one. The right-hander, you can get through there with quite a lot of speed. And Paul Beattie has to back out as Sean Doyle almost slid into his right-hand side as they went through.
Just 10 laps, doesn't leave you a lot of time, so they go 3 wide, huge dive for third place there. Somehow, that one has quite ended in tragedy. Someone's around.
Matthew Mites went around, and he just got tagged late on in the piece by someone going through, so now he's got damage to his front end as well. But that was a monumental dive from
Vartanian, up 5 positions in 2 corners.
Up the inside of the sea is parted for him, and he did a fantastic job to pull it up as well. So he's up to third, 1.4 back from the top 2, Kobe and Beattie, as we head through this very awkward left and right, like a chicane, and around goes, I think that was Sean Doyle, and it was. He spins to the inside. Let's jump behind them as well as more pieces of front wing go flying.
David Summers has some words to say, and also saw some others in there. Peter Wilkinson as well has now dropped to the very back, and you can see missing some aerodynamic elements there. Kobe Williams, what's going on for him?
Well, he's not leading anymore, according to the leaderboard. No, he is. Matthew Mites has had to tow back to pit lane thanks to that damage he's picked up down at turn 2, so he'll be sorely disappointed with that. He'll want to bounce back in race 2. In fact, there is a race 2 still to come. As Kobe Williams leads by 7/10 of a second over Paul Beattie. Vartanian 1.7 back, 3.3. Dennis Hancock and Nathan Verney currently in 5th place under a lot of pressure from Julian Mookie, who's looking for potentially a move down at turn 2. He won't quite get it as they very tight on the exit of turn 2. Just in the back of the shot. In fact, Mookie's lost out to Justin Howe.
Just 10 laps, and this slightly shorter layout, it all happens very, very quickly. Here comes Howe to the left-hand side of the circuit. This is one where it's gentle to the left and then a sharp right, but it's where he needs to be to grab that position.
You've got to get the car slowed while you're turning to the left. And that's what happens when you don't get it slowed down. You shoot straight off the racetrack and you're going to lose a spot if you're Justin Howe in that situation. He's still got 2 tyres on the grass as he's just wrestled it back under control. Mookie's going to go by. He's got to watch out because Ara Felberg's trying to get a piece of the cake here as well. This incredibly long right-hander sets you up to the tight left. Just the final corner on the circuit. Torture to the left side tyres. Torture in these cars with the rear end constantly wants to come around in you. So Howe recovers and immediately back on the offensive. They're on the inside of Mookie for turn 1.
Because that's absolutely level at the turning point. Howe down the inside. Mookie with a lot of confidence around the outside. Is that ill-founded? Oh, it is this contact.
Mookie saves it, but Howe does not. He goes crunch into the Armco. Justin Howe's day comes to an abrupt end down on the exit of turn 1. Mookie's still in the action. This time he's got Ara Felberg alongside him, but much better exit for Mookie. When you come through turn 1, you've got to quickly get yourself back to the left for turn 2. So being on the inside for turn 2. For being on the inside for 1 and 2 becomes very awkward when you get to turn 3. Felberg's going to fight back here on Jeremy Bush.
Tough one there because the circuit gently goes to the left and then a very, very sharp right. You're not sure if you want to be at the left-hand side or the right-hand side to try and make an overtake work. So from Philip Howe that it's not easy even if you've got the line. So things starting to shake out. Your front row from the grid, Kobe Williams, Paul Beattie still running up there, but behind some big gainers like some Mario Vartanian, 5 spots, Nathan Verney, 5 spots gained in very quick order.
Some big losers as well. Matthew Mites is lap down. And Justin Howe is now running in, I think, 17th or 18th place. Kobe goes purple on that lap, responding from a good show of pace that Paul Beattie had on the previous trip around. Although he was only 0.02 of a second quicker than Beattie on that last lap to go purple. So Beattie's right there with him. And with that slide that Kobe just had out at 2, getting into 3, Beattie's going to have an excellent run down this back straight. And Kobe's going to try to cover off. But which lane do you cover? Do you cover off the gentle left or the sharp right? The gentle left, he wants the inside for that. And here comes Beatty. Gonna have to go the long way around here.
Great opportunity to put some pressure on, though. Set yourself up a good line through the tight corner there, except not jumping all the way across the curbing. Not what you want to do. So Kobe Williams successfully defends that one. But Beatty did have a decent look there and had quite a bit of a run going.
You did. You'll have to be careful about that. You can't afford to make a mistake through turns 2 and 3 because of the length of that back straight. The gap between them is pretty much nothing. 4 tenths per second officially, but to the naked eye, you can see the gap increase and decrease through the corners. And as I cross the stripe, it's going to be a tick smaller than 4 tenths. Beatty was quicker on the lap by 2 tenths of a second. The draft working very well in his favour as he goes purple now with the 122.01.
Seems like it's in the drive off this next sequence of corners here where you can dive it in deep, but it compromises your exit off because you've got to get through the hairpin and then the 90-degree left-hander here. Beatty really looks like he gets the throttle open early. That's how he puts the pressure on 3 wide in the background.
That looks a bit interesting. Heading to turn 1 is how's this going to work out? 5 cars vying for one piece of road. One car blinks out of existence, comes back to life in the grass. Philip Howe remains pretty much where he started. Leon Williams at the head of that train. Peter Wilkinson now looking to the inside of Philip Howe in the background. There you go. Very close to getting his nose chopped on the exit of turn 2. But they all escape. And it's a pretty good battle for P3 as well. In fact, Hancock's taken it away from Vartanian on this lap.
Yeah, I think it was Vartanian I might have seen getting wide out the final corner. Again, another one where there's a really long sweeping corner that then sharpens up in the opposite direction. We see it here. It might have led to this battle going back and forth, letting the leaders get away, but a podium is a podium. Hancock wants to hold on to it. Vartanian wants to get it back.
There we go. He's got the run. Gonna make the slingshot move to the inside. Paul Beatty's just ticked ahead on the leaderboard. You saw it in the front of the shot there. Side by side through turn 1. And Kobe Williams has lost the lead of the race to Paul Beatty with a great move at the first corner. Behind them, Vartanian retook 3rd as well.
Quick flashback to the replay. Kobe Williams once again very eager to defend the inside, but Beatty just, absolutely walking him down the pit straight, comes around the outside. And in the end, Williams is just on too shallow of a line to be able to carry enough speed. And he tricks himself into running a little bit wide as well. Hands Paul Beatty just a little bit of a lead.
We haven't actually seen Paul Beatty's outright pace get converted into a solid result yet, have we? I remember that first sway, Kobe, hold on to it. Remember that first race he showed up, then took rear tyres. A bit of a misplay in that pit strategy and it ruined his race. And finally, on this being a sprint race, he doesn't need to pit. He's at the front, he's got the pace, and he's only got 4 laps to go when we cross the line.
Yeah, you're seeing the lap times a minute 21 or so. This is definitely going to come in the short side of 15 minutes in just 10 laps for race 1. But then there's a little more to go on in race 2. Kobe Williams really sticking with him. That's what you expect to see from the Skip Barbers. Just a little bit of a draft here, a little bit of a tow there. Real pack racing.
Scott Melville in the middle, behind Jeremy Bush, ahead of Sean Doyle. Now he's inside of Jeremy Bush, and he's ahead of him. Oh no, he screwed up the braking zone, and Bush had to dart left on the entry. Sean Doyle's going to pick up a spot because of that. And Jeremy Bush has fortunately lost a lot of time as Melville sends a smoke signal down at turn 2 as well. Maybe just struggling a little bit with the braking performance on his Skippy.
Some of the evasive driving there, maybe costing him, but keeping him in the race. So we look with Sean Doyle, his new paint scheme for this season, US Air Force. He's flying along.
Is this one of the tracks that used to be an Air Force base as well?
Oh, it's British, so that's like a 70% hit rate there.
Our director Jay says yes. So I wonder if Sean Doyle can get back up to where he deserves to be. Started 3rd definitely look out for him in race 2. In fact, there's a couple of drivers to add to that list, isn't there? But Howe, Mites, all of them should be quick. We'll have another qualifying session to set the grid for that second race as well, don't forget. Murray Vartanian, under pressure from Hancock again. Paul Batey's lost the lead meanwhile.
He's had a problem. He's now 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 seconds back off Williams. Just caught a look at a little bit of a lock-up somewhere from Beatty. I think Williams might have surprised him into the final corner.
No, it's down at turn 1.
Oh.
There, it was role reversal from the previous exchange. This time, Beatty got a bit crossed up on the brakes. And you'll see it from the chopper cam here. Had to catch the slide. And good awareness from Williams as well. Looks like he might have moved his car a little bit wider than he'd originally planned after seeing that slide from Beatty. Prevented an accident.
Found some grip on the high line as well, so you could say.
Yeah. Done a good job there. So now Kobe's got a pretty handy advantage.
1.4 seconds.
Okay, 1.4. As long as he goes mistake-free, he should be set to bring this one home. 2 laps to go now at Snetterton 200. Has Beatty got enough pace left in the tank to charge back at Kobe? Vartanian's got a couple tenths in hand over Hancock. I don't think we've seen the last of that battle in this race either.
No, in fact, I'd suggest that the battle for third is where some of the excitement's going to be, lest we see a mistake from Kobe Williams. Unfortunately, that little back and forth between Williams and Beatty has seen Beatty drop back a little bit further than you would otherwise wish for.
Down what used to be an airstrip. This used to be a runway, this piece of road. And Hancock can't get around the outside of Vartanian, who does a fantastic job through there to not only fend him off, but actually pull some time.
Go on between Bent Veltzen and Bush, though. Bush to the inside initially. Not scaring Bent Veltzen too much, but they leave a respectful amount of space, and Bush is able to hold on to that top 10.
Williams running away, penultimate lap of the race. He does a 21.3, fastest we've seen all day long. Beatty's got nothing to respond now that he's out of the draft. Van Velzen has got himself as knotted up as I got my words there, down at the last corner, going on straight off the road, and has cost him probably the chance at picking up a spot there.
Made a bit of a dog's breakfast of that one, and so did you.
Yeah. Side by side, Felberg and Doyle as well, by the way, heading into turn 2. Felberg's just fended off Sean Doyle. Side by side on the back of the shot there. Vartanian and Hancock, and this time Hancock might just about clear him. He has, but he leaves the door open for Vartanian to fight back, and he's not able to do it. Hancock takes it away. If he can launch out of here, he might be able to fend him off through this last long right, and then to that sharp left. Look how Vartanian ranges up behind him. He's going to try to get to his left-hand side for the inside run at the last corner, but he can't quite keep the momentum there. He's having a look. He's thrown it in, but Hancock covers it. And out the front, Kobe Williams picks up race win number 1 from Snetterton with a great drive and a great battle. He fends off Paul Beatty in second. Hancock steals the podium on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, great little scrap there. Julian Mookie's still in a bit of hot water with Sean Doyle and Ira Felberg behind. But the line comes up, I think, just a little bit too early for Sean Doyle to do much there. Doyle did get past Felberg on the final lap, though, and Scott Melville. And then a little bit later, Jeremy Bush is going to be the top 10.
Just looking at Cameron Cousins and Peter Wilkinson. As long as Cousins doesn't throw it wide at this last corner, he should be able to fend off Peter Wilkinson. I'll tell you what, he didn't make it easy for himself. He went for the old Scandinavian flick into that last corner, didn't he?
Well, these are these changes of direction that we've got in a couple of places. On the back straight and on the final corner there, you're going one way and then you've really got to flick it the opposite direction and without care. That will see you in a little bit of a slide with a rapid change of direction, but everyone, for the most part, cleanly through that race.
Well, let's take a look at our full race results. From our sprint race, here in round 3 of the Ozicar Skip Barber Series, a 1.5 second winning margin for Kobe Williams. As Paul Beatty crosses the line in 2nd, Dennis Hancock 3rd, Vartanian only 4th, but still a good result after starting 8th. Verney picks up P5 plus 5 for him. Julian Mookie 6th, Sean Doyle home in 7th after starting 3rd. RF Felberg in 8th, Scott Melville goes plus 10 to finish 9th. Jeremy Bush comes home in 10th.
Next half of the field is Vic Bent-Veltzen, Leon Williams, Jack Patterson, Cameron Cousins, Peter Wilkinson, Philip Howe, Justin Howe, David Summers, and then Matthew Mites, a retirement there.
That's your full field at the end of race 1. We'll be back though. Stay with us. Still got qualifying and race number 2 with the mandatory pit stop to come from Snetterton here on Simspeed TV.
The field is rolling on the back straightaway.
Get ready. This is going to be tight. Out of turn 4, ladies and gentlemen. The All-American 400 is underway.
Got to be careful. The bumps here can get you every time. Entering the corner, exiting the corner.
Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go. Oh, no. That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh, my God.
God, what?
Welcome back to Snetterton. That is the Snetterton circuit. That big long straight you see towards the bottom of the screen, that used to be a runway. And it joins the big list of racetracks that have been built on the backs of former runways and Air Force bases and airports. Obviously the big one everyone knows is Silverstone. Of course, used to be an Air Force base, I think it was. Sebring as well, over in the US.
I've got a fun fact.
Yeah.
Knock Hill in Scotland, one of the straights, didn't used to be a runway, it used to be a railway line.
Oh. I wonder if they kept the railway line there and just paved over the top of it. It was like a crest in the middle of the road.
I don't know, but some of the best racetracks are when you plan around what you've been given rather than starting from a purely clean slate. And you work with what the built environment or Mother Nature has given you.
So not the bend.
I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Bathurst, for one. Although, that was, surreptitiously, wasn't it, designed always to be a racetrack, but with the premise of being a tourist drive. Then there's also that. Whatever that is.
Welcome to Spooky Month as well.
Yeah. Fitting as we enter October. Just being the 1st of October, is it just me? Does anyone do that pinch and a punch thing first day of the month? I did it back in primary school.
No, it's been a couple of years since I was 12. Not as many for you.
No,
I think is the difference here.
And
many more since Jay was that young.
I was incredibly creeped out because my mum just walks into my room at a minute past midnight and goes, "I love you." I was like, what the fuck is going on? She fucking socks me in the arm. Oh no! That snuck out. That snuck out. Oh no! Where's the beep button, Jay?
Anyway, so Ryan's been fired, and David Haynes here with qualifying from Snetterton. And while Ryan does his sensitivity training, he'll be back in a minute. But, once again, cold tires on skippies, you got to be careful.
One year and 4 months. That's what it took. Oh no. Here's David Summers then. Down the runway, down the back straight. I don't know.
So it looks like everyone mainly on our laps, I think, at the moment, though some might be starting their first flying laps. And of course, we talk about this every time with the skippies. Cold tires, when they're treaded and narrow, don't give you a whole lot of grip. Drivers have typically 3 flying laps at their disposal, and it's very rare that the first one is the best one. So we're going to shortly have some times begin to populate the timing tower. Isaac Summers isn't going to have one, though, because is he going to get all the way to the wall? Isaac Summers in the wall.
How's it up on the fence? That's a long way off the road.
Exactly. That's why I was wondering how on earth Isaac Summers managed to deviate that far from the racetrack and find a wall out in the field there. But just goes to show, you've got to be careful with how hard you push on the first flying lap, because those tyres aren't quite what they were at the end of race 1.
Kobe's first lap then, 3.5 tenths quicker than Paul Basie's. Bit of a gap back to the rest of the field, 4 tenths. Oh, there we go. Matthew Marks puts himself up into 3rd. Remember, he's looking for a recovery after his dramas down at turn 2 on lap 1 of the first race. Which is in Mookie's ever bright and visible livery coming down the main straight now to put down his first lap of the session, and it's going to put him up into P9 with a 124.425.
Leon Williams, as yet no time, just carefully plotting it through the final sector here. Just trying to make sure that this one is a valid lap. And take a look at that. He doesn't look well pleased with any of the tyre temperatures just yet. Thankfully for him, though, he does get a couple goes at it, a couple bites at the cherry to find some warmth, find a little bit more confidence to set something more representative. Poor Beatty puts in his second lap of qualifying and goes top of the board for a minute. Kobe Williams crosses the line and doesn't displace it, so it's hotting up between Beatty and Williams once again.
Trent Velsen crosses the line in 15th. He will stay there because that lap did not count. He's picked up an off track somewhere around the racetrack. Nathan Verney on his second lap finally gets his time on the board, goes to 6th for the 122.993. Not bad. Paul Beatty's eclipsed Kobe by 0.04 of a second meanwhile. .993 is one of my favorite Porsche generations, but doesn't look much like a Skippy. So Julian Mookie across the line, an improvement up into 10th. He's missing his teammate Braden Martin, who is at the Adelaide Oval this evening with my dad watching a bit of football. Oh yeah, we are missing him, aren't we?
They're not hanging out together. They don't know each other. They just both happen to be at the same.
Hey, you never know.
Tonight that I know. There you go. Wouldn't that be funny?
Kobe Williams, can he knock Beatty off pole? Yes, he can, by 0.2 of a second. That's a great final effort from him. So the front row will remain unchanged for race 2 here, unless someone else puts their hat in the ring. Hancock's last lap keeps him in 6th. Jeremy Bush, his last lap, looking to go better than a 24.140, is currently 14th. He's not going to do it. That didn't even count.
I also saw there's a couple drivers who, take it steady on the first lap, give it some beans on the second lap, and then, go all or nothing on the third lap. So I'm seeing a couple of times that aren't counted, aren't allowed on the third lap. What about Julian Mookie in whatever on earth we've been calling that livery? 23.8 for him is not going to move him up. Well, Beatty, I'm pretty sure, has used his limit of laps. Maybe he's going to take this opportunity to practice his pit entry, because it was the pit stops. No, he's not, but it was the pit stops that have kind of hurt him a couple times. You wouldn't fault his qualifying speed, you wouldn't fault his race pace, but what about the strategy in this second race? That's where Beatty needs a step up.
Yeah, well, it wasn't his pit entries, it was pit exits that got him, was it? It was his actual choice of which tyres to change. You know what? 4 laps at this qualifying session they've got, and Kobe's got even quicker. So, an extra lap added into qualifying here. It's caught us all out, I think. All it's done, though, it has meant that Kobe Williams has gone even quicker out at the front. Matthew Mites still 3rd.
Just improved there.
Yeah.
No, so I think that has just put him back into 3rd place. Justin Howe. Verney's improved to 6th. Justin Howe finds a little bit of improvement there, but just misses out on getting up a position by, it looks like about 0.009 of a second. He's right behind Ira Felberg. That was super close.
Mookie wags his tail across the line. Leon Williams. That's a busy livery. Looks good from up top. Looks good from here as well. Through the last corner, trying to hug the apex all the way around. Really no sense in tyre conservation through there. And launches into pit lane. Very
Bit of
tight
chicane.
pit lane.
Yeah. And then one of the yellow cones is standing on top of the barrier there, so you're not going to miss where the pit lane speed limit starts, hopefully.
I wouldn't be
want to
taking
get speeding.
I wouldn't want to be taking a BMW M8 into that.
Skippy, luckily, a relatively narrow track, actually, I think, compared to some other wider sports cars. But yeah, Matthew Mites opening it up a little bit, practicing his pit end.
Nope. Cameron Cousins stays 17th with that effort. In fact, yeah, that was the last effort. Another driver practicing the pit entry. I think that's everyone done for this session, though.
Indeed, it looks like it would be no one out on track. Snetterton right now. Oh, there's a restaurant.
Oh, there you go. Maybe Kobe and Beatty can dine there after they finish the race and wait for the rest of the field to come through. So Williams is on pole once again. Beatty will start alongside him. Matthew Mites picks up third. Sean Doyle will start from fourth. Peter Wilkinson and Nathan Verney will line up on row 3 ahead of Dennis Hancock and Mario Vartanian. Starting restart of last race, Canny Replicators. Heroics down at turn 2 this time by Ara Felberg starts 9th, Justin Howe in 10th.
In a weird change of form, we've actually picked up more drivers since race 1 instead of a couple deciding to call it a night. So Julian Mookie is going to start out of 11th, David Summers in 12th, Leon Williams there in 13th, Vic Bent-Veltson for 14th, Jeremy Bush in 15th, Scott Melville 16th, Cameron Cousins 17th, Philip Howe 18th, Jack Patterson in 19th, and then Isaac Summers rounds us out in 20th position for 20 starters.
Check temp, pretty much the same. We'll have 17 laps ahead of us instead of 10. And drivers will have to come to pit road for a minimum of 2 tyres, and we won't see any more than 2 unless someone has made some sort of big error. Expecting only fronts to be taken, Paul Beatty will forever live on as the example of why you don't take rears. About a minute before we go green here.
Yeah, almost all, but not everyone on the grid. Looks like we're just missing Julian Mookie and David Summers at the moment. If all of them jumped on the grid, the flagman would start waving the green. But instead, he's got to wait the prescribed countdown. 18 other competitors very patiently waiting. We've got Summers now. Just Julian Mookie. He's on the grid now. Let's see if they got to wait on race control or if we speed up this process regardless. That is our 20 cars lined up.
Don't expect anyone to get away badly, per se. Relatively easy to launch these cars off the line, and they do so quite slowly. But, got to get yourself through turn 1 with as much momentum as possible, because down at turn 2, a lot of time could be gained or it can be lost. Vartanian gained 5 spots down there. Lap 1, race 1. Mike's lost all of the spots. Here we go. Lights come on for race 2 at Snetterton. And that's a jump start for Paul Beatty. He's carried on with it. He knows he's gone. So Kobe Williams now with a golden opportunity. The rest of the field with one as well as we launch down towards turn 1. That's Beatty at the head of the field. Then comes Kobe Mites 3 wide for 5th.
Poor Beatty let that clutch slip worse than you did with your language earlier in the broadcast, but he knows he jumped it and then he just kept going, because at that point it's a penalty whether you stop or whether you keep going anyway. So he's 1.5 in the lead. Kobe Williams, though, no penalty looming over his head from what we can see. It's going to be a nasty one for Beatty.
Yeah, is it a stop-go?
I think it is a stop and go, and then if you take it with pit service, it's 40 seconds in the pit box. So I think he might be able to do just the one trip down the lane, but an extra 40-second hold regardless they're around. 2 cars stuck together there. Now
Whoa,
a third
Matthew
big
Mites, there's a
pile-up.
huge incident. The track's blocked down there at the chicane. Matthew Mites was on the roof. Well, roll over of another car. That's the distinctive Air Force livery as well of... It's a distinctive livery, but I can't put a name to it. Sean Doyle. What on earth happened down here?
2 cars entangled together, stuck on the racing line there, and a few others just Blind corner, didn't check up accurately, and there it
Whoa!
goes. It's
It
like
looks
something
like-
off Discovery Channel there.
And then these guys are on the exit. Everyone else is going to come along and realize we've got nowhere to go. It looks like they've got stuck together there as well. And if that's not good. Matthew Mites eventually climbs on top of Doyle. And those three are left with nowhere to go.
It's like the slow-mo of the shark launching out of the water and tearing a seal in half. That, and then it continues to get worse from here. Those three are, I think, mechanically intertwined, stuck together. And it doesn't get prettier from there on outwards.
So Kobe definitely leads us now because Beatty has come to pit road. He had to serve a 30-second stop and hold penalty. Does that mean he couldn't take his tyres either?
No, I think he took his tyres. It's like a 30-second, 3 times Lewis Hamilton penalty. He's had to serve 30 seconds of hold, and then they've changed his tyres. So it's put him out, well, ahead of everyone who was in that crash, but still struggling to make anything out of this race, including a top 10.
If it's a Lewis Hamilton as penalty, do you wonder if he asked race control what the penalty was for? It's pretty
I won't dive into that one.
Wasn't it?
But Kobe Williams now lap 2 or lap 3 has gone and taken his service as well. And it almost looks like he's not quite being jumped by Nathan Verney. So Wilkinson carries on in the lead, Ben Veltson in second. But with all the damage a lot of drivers picked up, understandably, a lot of them have gone very early on their pit stops rather than waiting it out.
Yeah, so Kirby's rejoined in 4th, ahead of Dennis Hancock. Murray Vartanian is behind Nathan Verney, and now he's ahead of him because Verney's car just did not turn through the exit of turn 2.
Might be Nathan Verney, but he wasn't Nathan Turney. Forget I said that. Peter Wilkinson still leads. Only your top 3 yet to have pitted at this point as well. So normally we see quite a few deciding to pit early so they don't get caught on cold tyres later on. But this is far more early pit stops than I think we're used to seeing, even knowing that it's often a good strategy.
I think Kobe here is wanting to put himself in a good spot. Doesn't want to be staying out and then wondering, where am I going to rejoin when I pit? He knows where he is and what he's got to do. And now that his closest competitor has absolutely nailed themselves with a slam dunk penalty, it's Justin Howe in a pretty good spot here to maybe get by Nathan Verney. Not down at turn 1, but down at turn 2. If he gets through here nicely, keep momentum up. Yeah, he's not done that. But Nathan Verney kept it up a bit too much and he slides off the exit. Here comes Howe. Definitely close enough for a lunge. There it is. On the brakes, pulls it up, get it turned, now get it turned the other way, move made.
Nothing significant, but just a tiny bit of camber at the inside of that hairpin there, which if you throw it down the inside, you claim the inside line, it's going to help you just a little bit. Then Verney has the opportunity to come back at him, and I think lifts out of the throttle just a little bit there. Just going to ride along with Justin Howe for the moment.
You're 1,000 quicker, there's not much point in fighting it. If you're Nathan Verney, as Howe throws it wide, and that's going to hand it straight back to Nathan Verney. I think I spotted as well Bartanian quite wide out of that corner as well.
Bartanian's third of all the cars that have pitted and only just up the road from Verney at the minute.
So Isaac Summers, the one out there between Hancock and Bartanian. I mean, Justin's tyres at this point might be a bit riddled with grass. Not quite offering up the grip he wants.
Yeah, been a struggle for him a couple of corners on this lap. Again, those cold tyres just not quite wanting to turn on the front. Eventually they come good, but before then, definitely more consideration needed to make the car turn.
the inside. Ira Felberg on Julian Mookie, who had a big slide through turn 1, which is why he was under pressure into turn 2, but he's able to recover and should be safe at the end of the straight from any advances from Felberg. Don't think he'll quite get close enough to make a real challenge. That braking zone's coming up real quick. There is Paul Beatty. He's back there in 12th, just ahead of Isaac Summers, who just made his pit stop. So Beatty will be desperately disappointed with how this round has panned out. So, still yet to see a race win for his raw pace.
Felberg, with this section of the track, we always wonder, some drivers turning in a bit earlier there, some stay hugging the right-hand side, turning later for what works as effectively the final corner. I think Felberg also trying to straighten up the braking zone a little bit before he turns in. Not enough for him to bring the fight to Julian Mookie down the pit straight this time, though.
Felberg going for a double apex of that first corner there, didn't he? Whereas
A few do, yeah.
car in front, Mookie, let himself run a bit wider at entry and really cut in for the late. That's awkward. Mookie went wide, and then I think he lifted off to let Felberg go by.
Yeah, he was well wide.
Kind of slowed both of them up a bit more than it needed to, I think.
Felberg, I think in this case, wisely not using Julian Mookie's lines as a reference point. It's helped him out, at least just for now.
So still waiting on Pete Wilkinson and Vic Benton-Velson to make their stops. They both stay out. Kobe Williams still on 3rd, well clear of, well behind the top 2, but definitely well within their pit window. 4 seconds clear of Dennis Hancock. Vartanian there in 3rd. Pretty lonely, 4 seconds behind Hancock. Only a second in front of Nathan Verney, actually. So he's under a bit of pressure here.
JR Director working backwards on the numbers about where the drivers who haven't pitted yet are likely to filter back out, seeing 28 to 30 seconds from pit in to pit exit, including changing 2 tyres. So Wilkinson, where he is, still 17 seconds clear of Williams, and as you can see, 27 seconds clear of Mario Vartanian. Might still be able to find himself in the top 5. Scott Melville won't, though.
Oh no!
Vartanian won't.
Vartanian spun. Nathan Verney's got with him. Justin Howes followed in sympathy.
Looks like a precision driving team at like the Easter show or something.
And now Ira Felberg in 8th. Suddenly, looking at 5th. No, he's what? What have you done, Ira? He's tripping into the back of Nathan Verney, who was struggling to get the car turned. Somehow Vartanian's still ahead of this lot. Mookie's stuck. Justin Howes trying to come back. What just happened? I think Ira got caught thinking Verney was a bit more in a drivable position than he was and had nowhere to go. I don't know how, but somehow Vartanian's still in 5th. This is the replay.
Bit of a wobble. Goes off on the grass there, tags Verney, and then Howe shoots it in a little deep.
So Ira comes through. Golden chance. They've all spun in front. Look for your first top 5 ever. Or not. And he damaged his front wing by doing that. You could see it just tumble beneath the car, couldn't you? Ooh.
Vartanian, a lot of damage. Cork in the bottle. They're trying to go around him right now.
I've just seen that on live pictures. His straight line speed is absolutely nowhere.
He's just had Mookie and Howe barrel past him. Now he's replay. He's trying to block out Ira Felberg potentially, but the straight line speed is absolutely nothing to be found for Vartanian. He's rearranged the nose cone and front wing into a parachute.
He's probably going to cop a penalty as well, actually, for triggering that when he took Vernie with him. So now Mookie and Howe are up to 5th and 6th. Van Velsen, by coming in, unfortunately still won't be in for a top 5, but definitely this has worked out well for Peter Wilkinson. He's going to be well inside the top 5 now. Those guys lost 12 seconds. Well, the gap from 1st to 5th went from 27 to 40 seconds on that lap.
Ira finally able to muscle out Mario Vartanian, I think. It's going to be tough for Vartanian to come back on this one. Oh, is there anything left of that nose now? We'll see. But Peter Wilkinson, like you say, having avoided all of the shenanigans and the kerfuffles, is going to come onto pit lane and very well might come out in 4th place. All the time that's been lost by Mookie and Howe and Felberg and all that like.
It's been a wild race too, hasn't it? Wonder if blinking out there saved his life, because I thought for sure he was going into the back of Julian Mookie. These guys are going to fight for what'll be P5 and P6. Kobe takes the lead of the race. Wilkinson's dropped off the jacks and he is now moving. These guys still yet to come through the final corner, so Wilmington is well clear. Throws it over that last curb. There goes Wilkinson, and he's on for a podium.
Yeah, solidly looking at 3rd place there. That's one of the occasions where going long on the strategy, not getting tangled up, has really, really helped him out here. Mookie defending the inside from Howe. Peter Wilkinson, serene little drive from him, while everyone else seems incapable of not tripping over each other.
Up 10 of 17. This is when we would have been finishing our sprint race. 7 laps to go still when we cross the line. Looking like our closest battle towards the front into this P4 scrap between Mookie and Howe. It's 5.6 from Williams to Hancock at the front. 11 seconds back to Wilkinson. 18 seconds make that. And 25 seconds back to these two. We've not got much pressure from behind. Felberg's not got the pace to challenge them, thanks to that damage he picked up.
Vartanian and Bent Veltsen also battling here at the moment. Most number of positions gained by anyone is Isaac Summers, but Bent Veltsen's on +6 and he might be shaping up +7, and knowing the damage on that car ahead, Bent Veltsen doesn't need to do a whole lot right and he can pick up that position. He just needs to not do a whole lot wrong. Keep it tidy, keep it on the circuit. Surely he's got 10-15 kilometers an hour more in 5th gear.
Yeah, don't take that line through the last corner that he took that time by. Vartanian tops out at 168, Van Velsen at about 179. I peaked down there at the entry to turn 1.
Presumably even more so on the back straight as well.
In the draft as well. Paul Beatty does the fastest lap of the race. That'll be a small consolation for him. Here we go. Justin Howe's about to get by Julian Mookie. Pulls to the inside. Mookie says you can have it for now, but I dare say he's going to fight this one. As Howe's struggling to pull it up, has to drive around to the apex. It slows him up. It allows Mookie to close back up to his gearbox, but through this long right-hander, he's going to struggle to find a way through. He's just got to stay in touch until we get back to the back straight.
Yep, so it goes. Howe looking far more on the ragged edge than Mookie, who seems to be just a tiny bit more restrained. It's not working yet. Both of them +6 positions, so Mookie could go another spot and be one of the big movers. But in saying that, Howe's just gone and set a personal best on that lap, so he's happy with these tyres now.
That slingshot giving him a nice boost of speed as Paul Beatty just got himself by Bent Velsen and will surely get himself by Vartanian as well in a minute. In fact, he'll do it out at turn 2 as Vartanian runs it off the road, and Beatty errs on the side of caution. In fact, Mario's defended that spot. I think he might find himself feeling like he's got a parachute on the back of his Skippy down this straight. Wow. Already about 10 car lengths back. Ben Velson's going to clear him as well.
Is he? Not quite. It's so close. But then Ben Velson locks up a tyre, goes wide. And again, we're saying this is easy meat so long as he doesn't, you know, go off the
Maybe
circuit
he's a
in the remaining
vegetarian.
couple of laps here.
I thought it was good. Lap time comparison, by the way, just to give you a reference, Kobe's done a 21.8 at the front. That battle was a P4. Justin Howes did a 22.3. 22.4 for Julian Milky. So the pace isn't that far off. It's only about 4 tenths off, but due to the time they were lost when they tripped over each other, they're not going to have a chance to battle Peter Wilkinson in third, who's doing 22.8s.
Justin Howe versus Julian Mookie is going to continue. Between the two of them, Howe has the faster lap of the race, so the 1 lap pace from him. But again, look at that, just throwing it in. Somehow that line works, does it? Just, I think he'll hold on to it for the moment. Again, it is on the ragged edge.
At some point, he's going to dip those tyres in the grass, and it's not going to stick. Purple lap from Kobe out front, 21.5.
Tell you what, when you're watching your language, you've also got to be careful how you pronounce bomb hole.
Which corner is that again?
It's the one where it looks like some aircraft munitions have made a nice little hole at the apex. It's in the final sector of the lap there. You sort of throw it in, find a little bit of camber, a little bit of bite in the middle of the corner. If you miss the apex, then you don't get that, and find yourself going a little wide. Robbie Williams is about to go through it. It's this right-hander. Bomb hole. And he drops
Okay,
in.
you did
and
not
pops
say
out.
bomb. You did
I
not
cl-
say bomb then.
I totally did. You're one to talk. You're one to talk today, Mr. Ryan.
3 laps to go in this race. It's Justin again. Just absolutely sends it with no regard for his own safety through the chicane. Now through the never-ending right-hander. He's well off the road. Now that's going to cost him. But that time it did not stick. Luckily, he'd pulled a bit of a gap. He had a bit of room to play with, but it's definitely poured Mookie right back up to his gearbox. And at the last corner, I thought maybe for a split second Mookie could have flashed one down the inside, but not quite there. Definitely closer now, though. So lap times this time by will reflect that. Justin Howe goes from what it was a 22.6 to a 22.9. Mookie does a 22.5, 9.8.
At the same time, Howe was throwing it off the circuit. Vic Nelson finally got around Mario Vatanian. One that we probably expected to happen maybe 5 laps ago, but finally he's stuck that move. Good run from Mookie. Howe was a bit wrong-footed on the exit there. Better line.
Going to get the run
Side by
through
side
3
again.
as a result. That was good stuff from Mookie. Saw Howe's mistake. Capitalised on it. Careful not to drift into each other here. Mookie's going to retake the spot that he lost at that very corner a few laps ago. Justin Howe's wide. Mookie was very shallow over the curb. 2 laps to go and they cross the line here. Can Howe keep it on the track long enough to retake this spot? This is for P4.
Neither of these guys have the term mechanical sympathy in their dictionaries today.
No.
No one in the grid, actually, now that I think about it.
Definitely not poor on Matthew Mites. His day has not gone well, despite great pace in qualifying. Howe might be able to sneak it up the inside at turn 1 here. Mookie thought about covering. Moves it over half a car's width, but not much. She's going to allow Howe up the inside. We'll try to fight back at turns 2, 3 in the back straight. Howe got through there very nicely. Mookie may have given up just a little bit more than he wanted to in terms of margin to the back of Justin Howe's car as Justin just tags the inside curve. That slowed him up a little bit. I reckon he might have done enough there to play himself into an advantage down this back straight.
It was hard to know, but you can tell Howe was worried for a little bit, driving right down the middle of the road, and a wide section of track it is there. Oh!
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, how's he's jammed on the brakes to pull that up. Obviously, he's lost a ton of time, but he's still on the road, so he can still fight as Mookie gets up his inside. And takes the spot. Heading towards the final lap of the race. 35 seconds away from the race leader. Kobe's well and truly into his last lap. These two about to begin it. Onto the main straight. Howe's got the run again. Surely this time Mookie doesn't let him get up the inside. He doesn't. He's going to force him to go the long way around and find the grip on the high side at turn 1. We've seen this move work for Beatty in race 1. Not going to work for Howe. What about the lunge at turn 2? Mookie moves it over a car's width to cover that, and Howe lunges to his outside, looking for the switchback, the momentum. Through 2 and 3, and he gets it. Mookie's going to have to cover here. Does he want the inside or the outside for the left? He's going to have to go to the outside, because Howe's got alongside him. Now remember, Howe's not fantastic down here, David. Whoa, slow car.
I saw that one coming. A bit more Ricardo's onto action. You love to see it. Howe's got his nose well and truly in front, but this has been his weakest corner, his weakest braking zone. Mookie can't cut back underneath him, just doesn't have the confidence or the turn there.
Meanwhile, Kobe's won the race. That far out in front. Went purple on the last lap to do it as well. Hancock picks up P2. Wilkinson P3. As for P4, it's looking like Justin Howe has this one through the last corner. He's going to win the battle between them.
And behind them, Paul Beatty has actually been clawing away at them. He's been going hammer and tongs. We missed seeing him pick off Vic Bent-Veltsen, then he picked off Ira Felberg. So jump start, 30 seconds added to his pit stop. He's still going to bring it home in 6th. But again, a tale of what could have been, just slip of the clutch right at the start.
And that is the end of race 2 at Snetterton. And these are your results. A 10-second advantage for Williams at the end, winning over Dennis Hancock in 2nd. Peter Wilkinson picks up the podium. Justin Howe and Julian Mookie 4th and 5th. Paul Beatty home in 6th ahead of Ira Felberg. Vic Bent-Veltsen, Mario Vartanian and Philip Howe, your top 10.
And then, tale of woe deeper in the field. Isaac Summers, his last car on the lead lap in 11th. 12th for Scott Melville. 13th, Cameron Cousins. Nathan Verney, 3 laps down along with Leon Williams. And then Sean Doyle, lap 1 problems. He finishes 6 laps down. He's not happy with that, I know. Jeremy Bush in 17th. Matthew Mites, 16 laps down. Basically a retirement on lap 1 for him. Same for David Summers in that huge incident at the end of the Bentley Straight.
And we are going to have to wrap things up straight away here. We've got to jump straight to another broadcast here on Simspeed TV. So unfortunately, there will be no interviews today. But we will be back this same time next week for round 4 of this series at 7:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time next Thursday night. But for tonight, for this show, from myself, Ryan Jones, David Haynes alongside me and Jay Kennedy behind the scenes. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
This is fantastic. This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taking Anderson! Anderson's up top now!
Oh my God!
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go. Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this!